us about today. We're very excited to have her, so I'll turn the program over to you.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, NAACP, for inviting me and the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights to be here this morning to talk about our organization, and for Rudy Simons, who has been a long-time supporter, board member, advisory board member of the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights, who is one of your allies, who invited us to come and do a presentation this morning about the organization. The Michigan Coalition for Human Rights is absolutely an ally of everybody here, and I want to just tell you how much it is an honor for me to be among all of you, because I know you're so dedicated to human rights and everything that you do, and that is also what our organization is about. I'm the chair of the organization. I've been the chair since 2010. The organization has been around since 1980, so it's a long time existing organization, and 36 years. It was started in 1980 by three faith-based men. My father, Bishop H. Coleman McGehee Jr., Episcopal Bishop, Bishop Thomas Gumbleton, a Roman Catholic bishop, and Rabbi Hertz. And the reason that these three gentlemen decided to form this organization was really in response to the moral majority and the message that they were sending in association with politics and religion. And they wanted a different voice. They wanted a voice that spoke out against militarism, against materialism, against racism, sexism. They wanted another voice so that people knew that religion and politics didn't have to be divisive. They formed the organization. The organization has evolved during the years, but it is an organization made up of people of different religions, different races, labor groups, community activists, and our mission is to promote awareness of, commitment to, and advocacy for human rights through education, community organization, and action. We put on a lot of educational forums throughout the year. We put on a film series in the fall and the spring, and Rudy is very much involved with that, where we have show films for 3 to 4 consecutive Tuesdays about important current human rights issues. And during the films and after the films, we have a facilitator who's knowledgeable about the issue, who then facilitates a discussion about the human rights issue that was involved in the film. We bring in speakers from all over the state, the country, and the world to talk about human rights issues. We've had Desmond Tutu here to speak to us in one of our speakers' forums. We had Vince Carter from the Center of Constitutional Rights come to speak with us at our annual dinner. And so we attract a lot of people from around the world to come and talk to us and educate us about human rights. We were involved historically in the anti-apartheid movement, and were really instrumental in the grassroots effort in association with the boycott of the Cougar Rant. And so we've had a lot of history as it relates to human rights, racism issues, also issues involving environmental issues, which are very important to us. The organization is operated by primarily a working board. We have a board that is made up of community activists, professors, teachers, attorneys, people from all different walks of life who are committed to human rights. We do not have an executive director. We operate primarily with the help of Marge Sears, who is our program coordinator, who's here today, and who does a wonderful job keeping the organization together. And then the board members work very hard to make the organization work. So we're very appreciative of our board and our advisory board members as well. One of the things that the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights has done historically is sponsored and organized and funded what is called the Freedom Tours. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today, because we have one of those Freedom Tours leaving on Sunday, September 19th, this Sunday. June. What did I say? September. No, not September. June. This Sunday. No. The Freedom Tours were organized originally by the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights in the 1980s and 90s. And one of our board members who was on the board at that time, Dorothy Aldridge, and maybe many of you know her, was instrumental in organizing those freedom tours back in the 80s and 90s, where we took a bus full of high school students from metropolitan Detroit area down to the Deep South to educate them about the civil rights movement. Those tours stopped for a very long time, primarily because of limitations in terms of funding. And we decided to start them up again in 2013. So we had one in 2013. We took 35 high school students and 10 mentors down for approximately 14 days to the South. Wonderful experience, absolutely went tremendous. And so, but took a lot of energy because obviously we're operating on volunteers almost exclusively. And so this year we decided to have another one. So this is 2016. And we have 23 high school students from metropolitan Detroit area. They're from different racial backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds from the metropolitan Detroit area. We have 8 adult mentors who are also going to be going on the trip with these students. We selected the students based on applications. They provided us with essays about why they thought it was important for them to be part of this journey. And then we had individual interviews with the students to select them to go on the trip. The mentors were selected based on their commitment to being involved in not only the actual journey, the trip, but also the pre-programming. And prior to the trip, we have had a lot of programming with the students to prepare them for the trip. We've had a service day where we went and cleaned the Viola Luiso Park and also educated them about her life and how important she was to the civil rights movement. We also had a local Detroit tour where we took the students for an entire day to different areas of Detroit to educate them about the history of Detroit and its relevance to the civil rights movement. And we also had recently a retreat with the students. So we leave on June 19th, and I passed around an itinerary. Dorothy Aldridge is going to be with us again, and she was with us in 2013, and she is instrumental in all the contacts that we get with the people who were actually part of the civil rights movement, and they provide the education to the students. So I wanted to pass out the itinerary because it's such an ambitious itinerary. I mean, we're up at 7 o'clock every morning, and we don't get home till about 10 or 11. And this is the journey that we'll be on. So, we head off at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. We get to Atlanta at about 11:30 at night. And the next day, we get nonviolence training from Dr. Bernard Lafayette, who is one of the co-founders of SNCC, right? And Charles Alphen. And they provide us with nonviolence training for 2 days in Atlanta, Georgia. And during that time, we also visit some of the historical sites like Martin Luther King's birth home, the Ebenezer Church. And then we also go on a historical black college education tour while we're there. On June 22nd, we travel to Montgomery, Alabama. And in Montgomery, we'll visit the Dexter Avenue Church, Southern Poverty Law Center, the Rosa Parks Center. We'll also go to Birmingham, Alabama, where we'll visit the 16th Avenue Baptist Church, the Birmingham Civil Rights Museum. We'll go to Lowndes County. This is the county in which Viola Luiso was murdered. We'll go to the Freedom House there and also to her memorial. And I'll just tell you that when we went on the trip in 2013, we visited many of these same sites. And when we went to the Viola Luiso memorial, we had to get a police escort, and people still shoot at it, so they had to put a barrier up. It's really, quite distressing. But and same thing when we went to Mississippi, and we'll be going to Mississippi as well. We went to Philadelphia, Mississippi, where Cheney, Schwarmer, and Goodman were murdered, and we'll go there this year as well. And when we go there, we'll be met with somebody who was John Steele, who was actually there when the church was burnt. It was his church, the church that he went to. And he tells us about those 3 very heroic civil rights workers who were murdered, and we go to the site where they were murdered and where their bodies were dumped. And that also requires a police escort for us to go there. So there's still a lot of feeling around there, and they tell us that an area where they go to honor the martyrs who were killed during the civil rights movement has been bombed before recently, and so there's still a lot going on in Mississippi and in the South. So from Lowndes County, we go to Selma, and we visit, we walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, and in 2013, we walked across the bridge with the students. Ironically, in a kind of twisted way, it was at the same time that the Supreme Court ruled on the Shelby versus Alabama case in the voting rights. So that decision came out almost the same time we were on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So from there we go to Meridian, Mississippi and Philadelphia, Mississippi. And then from Mississippi we will be going to Jackson, Mississippi to Medgar Evers' home and to the International Museum of Muslim Culture. And then from Mississippi we'll go to Memphis, Tennessee, where we'll go to the Lorraine Hotel, the Civil Rights Museum there. And we'll also go to Henning, Mississippi, where Alex Haley's home is. And then from Memphis, we will go to Berea, Kentucky. And in Berea, Kentucky, we will visit Berea University, which is one of the few universities in the country that offers free education to students based on their economic circumstance. And so, and it was one of the first interracial colleges in the South. So that's the trip. It's 10 days. And I went I went in 2013. I'll also go this year. And it's a really transformational journey for these students. These students come in not knowing much about the civil rights history. They don't teach them much about it in their high schools, and it really is an eye-opening experience for them. I will give you a link to a short video that we did after the 2013 tour, where the students were interviewed and talked about the impact it had on them and how they didn't realize that people had risked their lives for the rights that they have now. And they didn't realize how students and young people had such an impact on the civil rights movement. I think one of the more dramatic situations in 2013 was going to Birmingham, Alabama, and learning about the Children's March and about how the children, young children, elementary school children, made such a huge impact on that. So we offer the tour free to the students because we do fundraising. So most of these students are financially challenged, can't afford to go. It costs about $2,000 a student. We travel by charter bus, we stay in hotels, and it's a wonderful trip. We ask that if anybody wants to sponsor students, $1,500. And our goal this year for fundraising was $75,000, and I'm happy to report that we're very close, but not quite, but very close to reaching that goal. And it's all based on people making donations, primarily people and organizations making donations. So we feel very good about that. It's an easy sell to go and talk to somebody about the Freedom Tour and why it's so important to a young person's life.
All right, let us thank MC.